The recent decisions issued by the Spanish judicial authorities regarding restricting the possibility of carrying out immediate return on some irregular migrants intercepted at sea stood out in particular. These decisions, in light of the incorrect interpretations and misleading circulation that accompanied them, led to the entrenchment of a conviction among some of those wishing to cross that it was possible to avoid immediate return, which contributed to the emergence of a single pattern of irregular migration attempts based on crossing by swimming, as it was considered by some to provide greater opportunities to evade immediate return.
We are facing an invasion, and it must be called exactly that. I believe that, at this point, no one can deny that the arrival of 65,000 people, according to current reports, constitutes an invasion. We are facing an act of war orchestrated by Morocco and tolerated and enabled by Pedro Sanchez in various ways.
The precise statistical data available to the competent authorities, based on the monitoring and field tracking systems adopted at the departure points of participants in these irregular crossing attempts, made it possible to determine the actual number of those concerned, which reached about 40,000 people heading toward the city of Ceuta and about 1,135 people heading toward the city of Melilla, while all persons who managed to reach Melilla were returned at the time. This tally is based on precise statistical and field data collected in accordance with approved technical mechanisms for tracking and monitoring, making it the authoritative reference, unlike some circulated figures that are not based on reliable data or objective grounds. In this context, the recent decisions issued by the Spanish judicial authorities regarding restricting the possibility of carrying out immediate return on some irregular migrants intercepted at sea stood out in particular. These decisions, in light of the incorrect interpretations and misleading circulation that accompanied them, led to the entrenchment of a conviction among some of those wishing to cross that it was possible to avoid immediate return, which contributed to the emergence of a single pattern of irregular migration attempts based on crossing by swimming, as it was considered by some to provide greater opportunities to evade immediate return. As of this hour, these events have resulted in the recording of one accidental death following a fall from a rocky area adjacent to the city of Ceuta, in addition to 10 deaths caused by drowning. This reality reveals that the short separating distance of less than 70 meters, and its relatively limited depth, which in some points does not exceed a little more than 2 meters, generated among a number of participants a misleading sense of the ease of crossing, prompting them to underestimate the scale of the risks and undertake attempts, some of which ended in tragic consequences. As for what is being circulated regarding the recording of other deaths in the city of Ceuta, the Moroccan authorities continue, within the framework of official cooperation and coordination with their Spanish counterparts, the process of verifying the accuracy of this information and the actual number of persons concerned as well as their identities and nationalities, with the aim of completing the necessary legal, administrative, and humanitarian procedures. In parallel, those concerned were enabled to return within the framework of the existing cooperation with the Spanish side, and in accordance with the procedures in force, through opening the crossings to those wishing to return of their own free will, which contributed to facilitating the gradual return of the situation in the area to its normal pace. It should also be noted that the competent public prosecution has, within the framework of its legal powers, initiated judicial investigations into the various acts and incidents related to these events, in order to determine all the circumstances, uncover responsibilities, and arrange the legal consequences in accordance with the provisions of the law. While the Ministry of Interior renews its affirmation that managing the phenomenon of migration can only be carried out within the framework of a comprehensive approach based on shared responsibility, genuine solidarity, and burden sharing, it stresses that the Kingdom of Morocco will remain, as its partners have known it, a reliable and responsible partner, committed to strengthening international cooperation and coordination in the field of combating irregular migration and human trafficking. At the same time, it will spare no effort in taking all necessary measures to protect public order, safeguard border security, and ensure the safety of persons and property within the framework of the rule of law, and respect for the Kingdom's national and international obligations.
I believe we are facing a brutal attack on our sovereignty and the security of the Spanish people. An attack that has resulted, first and foremost, in nearly 100 people dead in Spanish waters and thousands of Spanish citizens living in fear in the city of Ceuta. Those deaths and the suffering of so many people have those responsible, and in this case, the responsibility is shared. Pedro Sanchez is responsible, but Morocco shares that responsibility. We are facing an invasion, and it must be called exactly that. I believe that, at this point, no one can deny that the arrival of 65,000 people, according to current reports, constitutes an invasion. We are facing an act of war orchestrated by Morocco and tolerated and enabled by Pedro Sanchez in various ways. He has also contributed to encouraging these events through proposals for mass regularization, which weaken our borders. I believe the urgent priority is to demand drastic measures. First and foremost, we must require Morocco to accept the return of all its nationals who are illegally on our territory, in Ceuta, Melilla, the Canary Islands, and the rest of Spain. And Morocco should make it clear whether it is willing to take back its citizens or not, or whether it is in fact driving its own people away and pushing them into a confrontation with Spain in pursuit of other interests. The first step is to permanently militarize the border for as long as necessary. We must provide the legal authority, material resources, and legislative changes needed so that our armed forces, the national police, and the civil guard can effectively defend the border with whatever level of force is required. Spain must send a clear message to the world, and especially to Morocco, that it will defend its border. Third, the border crossing should remain permanently closed until Morocco provides guarantees that this will not happen again, because this only brings death, suffering, and devastation. At this moment, it is necessary to suspend the European Union's preferential agreement with Morocco until Morocco commits to respecting our borders. Why has Morocco done this? I think the answer is very clear. Because it knew there would be no response, no retaliation of any kind. And why has there been no retaliation? Because Sanchez is beholden to Morocco, and because Morocco probably has information and evidence about Sanchez regarding corruption and criminal networks that the Spanish people still do not know about. This has hardly happened in any other country in the world. Everyone is talking about it. Even President Trump has said that there are weak laws and poor management. I think this is the first time Trump has understated the situation. What we have are criminal laws that encourage invasion, and this is not simply poor management. It is a corrupt government that uses state institutions in a mafia-like way to shield itself from corruption investigations.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you'll have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a banking dynasty meets tides of world history, intrigue, and a dash of myth?
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.